see so many friends here, and I'm so appreciative for all of you coming, and so appreciative to all the great community leaders who came here. And I want to thank Martin Tadlock for hosting us here at this gem, the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg. What a beautiful spot for today's announcement. Thank you very much to the team here at USF St. Pete. I want to thank my friend Watson Haynes for that beautiful prayer. There are several elected officials here who I want to thank for their friendship and support in this campaign. Our County Commissioner, Pat Gerard, who you just heard from. Thank you, Pat. And another great leader on our County Commissioner, Commissioner Janet Long. Janet, thank you for being here. I'm so honored to have the support of several members of our St. Petersburg City Council. Gina Driscoll, who you heard from earlier. Brandy Gabbard is here. See you, Brandy. And I'm also pleased to be joined by my friend, Gulfport City Council member Michael Ferdovich, who's here. There he is, Mike. And our school board leader, Nicole Carr, who you heard from. And I just want to thank, there are several former elected officials who are here who are important to me. My friend Alex Sink, our former Chief Financial Officer. My friends, the former state representatives who I served with, Sean Shaw and Wingay Newton, are here. And I also want to thank a friend who could not be here today, Charlie Crist, who has dedicated his life to public service and represented us in Congress so well. It was great to be with Charlie last week at his kickoff in his campaign for governor, and we wish him well. And finally, I want to thank my wife, Christina. I love you, Christina. So a few minutes ago, our son Frankie led the Pledge of Allegiance, and I was so proud of him, and he did a great job, I thought. And you know, our daughters, Vera and Adele, are having more fun here than anybody, I think. But watching them makes me think about our future and what the future holds for them and what the future holds for all of our children in our community and our state and our nation. You know, we live in very interesting times. A little too interesting sometimes, if you ask me. But the challenge we face today is the same challenge that Americans have always faced. Our duty is to renew the promise of American life and preserve the future of our American dream. And that's why today I'm announcing that I'm running for Congress. We've got a lot of work to do, and I'm confident we can meet the challenges of this time, work to restore and build trust with each other, and ensure that all of our children have the opportunity to live an American dream. I was born and raised here in Pinellas County. This is our home. There's no place I'd rather be. It's where, as a kid, my dad and granddad taught me how to fish. It's where I fell in love with and married Christina, and it's where we're raising our family. And Pinellas is also where, growing up, I learned about the value of community and the importance of public service. My dad was a pediatrician here and worked for years with our county juvenile welfare board. My mom is a lawyer and my law partner and is always volunteering, whether it's for our community foundation or for All Children's Hospital. My parents instilled in me this strong sense of community service, and it has guided me ever since. I was inspired to run for public office by my grandfather, Donnie Fussell, who represented Florida in Congress. And that was a time when people were more important than politics, and doing what was right for our nation was more important than scoring partisan points or firing off the next tweet. My granddad served us with integrity and purpose. He believed in working honestly for all Floridians, and he obviously served us at a very different time. There were fights over politics, but there were more efforts made to reach across the aisle. People held different principles, but they also recognized the same set of facts. They pursued different goals, but they shared the same basic reality and the same basic aspiration: to make America one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, in my work in Tallahassee, I have tried to bring those same values that my granddad inspired in me of integrity and honesty to my public service for our community as your representative in the Florida House. I have tried to find consensus and build common ground. I've been a strong advocate in our legislature to improve our resiliency efforts to prepare Tampa Bay for the impacts of climate change, whether that's from the threat of stronger hurricanes or sea level rise. I've advocated for criminal justice reforms and tried to build consensus around these ideas so that we can have a criminal justice system that is just for all Americans. I fought for more money for early education and for our public schools. And this past session, I led the fight to try to kill the Toll Roads to Nowhere bill, which I thought we couldn't afford and we don't really need, and I'm pleased to share that that effort was largely successful. I've been successful in this work because I'm willing to work with people of all parties to help us recognize that while we may have disagreements, we share common goals. I read the bills. I listen to other points of view. I respect my colleagues regardless of their backgrounds or their political party. I rely on science and facts to make decisions. But I'm also absolutely unafraid to fight back for our fundamental democratic values and fight for our principles when they are threatened by what I see as a radical or dangerous agenda. Now, this past session, I was proud to join my colleagues on the floor in leading the fight back against policies that I saw were aimed more at pulling us further apart and further polarizing our communities. We fought back against an anti-democratic bill that criminalizes our rights to free speech and to peacefully protest. We fought back against legislation aimed at suppressing our right to vote and making it harder to vote by mail. Legislation that the governor just signed last week only for Fox News. We fought back against a hurtful bill that discriminates against transgender children from participating in sports. And we fought back against even more preemptions for our local governments, those leaders here who are working on solving problems rather than politicizing them. As an elected leader, I feel a responsibility to acknowledge this moment. I can't sit idly by. I feel the responsibility to fight for policies that we believe are right and moral and just, that give voice for an approach that doesn't pit us against each other, but instead points us in a direction that binds us together as a state and a nation rather than tearing us apart. In Washington, I will continue to advocate for the same priorities that I have fought for in Tallahassee that are so important to our community: clean water, protection for our precious Pinellas beaches, which are so important to our economy and our way of life, opportunities to earn a living wage, a criminal justice system that treats everybody equally regardless of their race or ethnicity, health care that is accessible and affordable, which is a fundamental human right. I will protect our voting rights and push efforts to make it easier to vote, not harder. I will continue, thank you. I will continue to support a woman's right to choose. I will support responsible gun safety measures, such as banning assault rifles and large magazines like those used in the massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. I'll look for ways, hi sweetheart, I'm almost done. This is why I'm running. I will look for ways to both protect our borders and create a sensible immigration policy because I believe we can do both. And I will be advocating to invest in infrastructure and transit that is so critical to our future here in Tampa Bay. And let me just say, because I think I'm getting the hook here from Vera. Folks, this will be a tough race. It will be one of the most competitive congressional races in the nation, and one of the most expensive. And as I was thinking about this last night, I believe this is only the second time in my lifetime that this seat has been open. And I expect you will see a lot of outside forces with unfamiliar names flooding our TVs and computers and iPhones and radios with breathless ads and wild claims. But it is absolutely critical that we elect a Democrat to continue to represent our district in Washington. Our House of Representatives in Washington is closely divided, and President Joe Biden needs this House to remain under Democratic leadership so he can continue to get things done for all Americans, like passing the American Rescue Plan that has helped so many Floridians and helped so many of our small businesses survive and helped our state avoid economic disaster. We have to nominate a Democrat who can keep this district blue, who can appeal to mainstream voters regardless of their political party, from Clearwater to Passagrill. A Democrat who has the experience and record of public service to be an effective voice in Washington for everyone in this community. I still believe in that same American dream that inspired my granddad a generation ago. I want to make sure everyone, like this little peanut here, has an equal opportunity to pursue that dream, and I want to make sure that dream is alive for all the children in our community. Please join me in this campaign. Please join me in this fight for our future. Join me in standing up for our democracy and for Florida. Our time to shine is now. Thank you all for coming. God bless you. God bless these United States of America. Thank you.